All right. So I was having some issues with with trying to learn how to use the video editor for the last drawing that I did. So we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna try to do it in fewer videos, so I can just splice together 2 or maybe 3 of them. I did kind of just divide it up, just depending on my day, but we're gonna see what happens. I just might make it a 2-parter. Anyway, so I did put down a piece of sandpaper. That's mostly just to kind of help keep my protractor from sliding, and I do use a protractor when I make my starting circle, primarily because, well, my hands aren't the most steady, so I just figure out whatever tools we need and go from there. Like I said, there's no shame in having to use tools. They exist and they're there for a reason.
I think she'll be alright. I think this will help, but even if she doesn't sell any of these,
right.
I think she'll be alright.
So first step is to start with a circle.
Anyway, that's what she's been selling.
I'm gonna adjust this just a little bit so you guys can see the whole circle.
And that's what she's been selling. Right, well
there we go.
All right. Anything else happens, I'll let you know. She probably will post again. She'll probably post a video tomorrow. Hi everybody.
And this for me is usually not 100% exactly right on, but after you make your circle, hold on, I just realized that I got a little spot in the circle. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah, I could do with one of them.
There we go. Bye, Dot.
Right. Thanks very much, everybody. See you in a little bit tomorrow.
Anyway. So from there, we are going to make a line through about the middle. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly in the center. It could be a little up, a little bit. It could be, facing up or down a little bit too. But that first line through roughly the center of the face is going to be, or the center of the circle, I guess, for right now, is going to be your brow line.
Because today is more than just a meal. Today we share what matters.
And if you like, and I often do this, you can also kind of curve that up at the end. I don't really know why, but to me it just kind of helps me to get the 3D illusion in my head a little bit better.
That's why today,
so that's just a preference for me personally. It isn't really required. You can definitely just go straight across if you want. Just to me, it just kind of helps me to get the idea in my head that it's not flat. All right, anyway. So from here, we're going to draw a line coming straight down in the middle. Now, and I did explain this in the video that I made that was just kind of explaining the Loomis method. So basically, the line that comes down is where the nose is going to be, and the nose is the center line of the face. So if you bring it over here, the face is going to be turned more. Bringing it all the way over to the side, say right here is going to, just be it's going to be a profile, so just absolutely side of the face. Because what I'm personally working on right now is more front-facing or slightly angled, I am going to keep it here. I'm going to go just a little bit off to the side, though.
Look how furry he is now. None of you can bully him anymore for looking like a bullsack. Say hello, Prince.
And I do this pretty lightly, and I am using a 2H pencil right now. You can go a little bit darker if you want to, if it helps you out. But I do tend to either use a very light, like a 2H, or even just like a really thin mechanical pencil. Just anything that's relatively easy to cover. Alright, so from here I am going to go on the sides of the head, and we're just going to we're just going to cut out these 2 little circles or semicircles, whatever.
She's too busy, in jail. But here's one of the many videos that she's made regarding fitness, and I genuinely think I actually quite like it.
And so, absolutely to take more with you and try what the self experience does. In fact, and it's one of those things that I had a MacBook computer and a gym space and then one gym. And I'm thinking,
It's all right. So those guys are going to be like kind of like the temple area. In the Loomis Method video, I did kind of explain and show a little bit more about what that area represents. But relatively easy, just whenever you look at a skull, you have that little section kind of missing out of it. It's not going to be a perfect circle. But that's going to be roughly where the ears are going to set. Now you don't have to do this, but I like to. So I am going to make some lines coming down roughly in the center of that little cutout.
For thinking people are going to judge them, people will look at them, because I feel like everyone thinks that at the start, right, when you don't really know what the fuck you're doing. So in my opinion, having an establishment where it's
and then from there,
people
I am going to figure out where to place my hairline. And for you, and it just kind of depends what your reference image is, or your person, whatever you have going on. Some people have a further back hairline, some are a little bit more forward, some have bangs, so just kind of figure out where that is for you. I'm gonna, for now at least, just kind of make it from the tops of these.
For everybody, no matter their body size or mobility needs. The space itself is awesome.
So then from here, we're going to divide the face into 3 roughly equal parts. No, it doesn't need to be exact. No, you can make it exact, don't get me wrong, you can. I just personally prefer not to, just because to me, I do think that faces look a little bit better when they're not quite perfect, so that is just a me thing. You are more than, you know, if it's your drawing, you can definitely do it perfectly even. In that case, just grab a ruler and measure. So you're going to have roughly equal spacing though, and it's going to go from hairline to brow. And then at about the same distance, you're going to go brow to nose. So when you figure out how far this part is, you just drop that down and do a similar measurement, and that is going to be a mark for the nose. And up to you on this one. I do sometimes see people draw that line completely across. I just kind of leave it about here. It gets the job done. Alright, and then from brow to nose, and then nose to chin.
Without having any prior experience. Because your joints, your muscles, your body isn't used to that sort of thing. So if you go on a run, for example, you're going to end up very, very hurt. Like, you're going to have to end up hospitalized. And you can see her, she's got a good sweat on. This is a decent workout for someone who hasn't worked out much. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what's going on here. This is a great thing, in fact.
So now I'm going to bring these lines down a little bit, and then we're just going to kind of curve them over to the side.
Maybe 100 kilograms minimum, which is what? I think just over 200 pounds over in America. If you went to the gym for the first time and immediately tried to squat 200 pounds, you wouldn't be able to do it, most people. When that bloke just does a body squat, he is already trying to squat 200 pounds. So when you add that much on top of it, it's not healthy. Like, this is making people just don't.
And we can also come back in a little bit and reshape the jaw / chin line if we need to. But this right now isn't so much about the details as it is just where do things go. Alright, let me grab my eraser because I made another mark in the face, and I'm going to get ready to go wash my hands because I got some charcoal powder on me.
Lay on them when you're boxing, you will get them first dry. That stone is so heavy, you can break the bidet.
Alright, cool. Wash my hands. So, anyway, continuing on from there.
The pros, the negatives, what I agree with, disagree with, because I do genuinely believe that.
I figured out where the charcoal powder's coming from. Alright, so
we'll get more into why later on, but
next
there's a lot of stuff here that I do disagree with.
grab my 2H pencil again.
It only really goes downhill from here, unfortunately.
We're going to dive into how to respond to those questionable comments like this.
Alright, so hopefully you guys can still see it. Anyway, but as I was saying, you can come back through and reshape the jawline later on if you need to. Again, this part right here is not so much about the details as it is just placement. Now, I do like to, it's optional, but I find it helpful personally. I do like to go ahead and just kind of make a couple of lines here. Just kind of like make the shoulders and neck, just so it doesn't just look like a weird floating head situation. Again, don't have to. A lot of this is not a must situation. Even just using the Loomis method itself is optional. I've also seen a lot who prefer the grid method. Actually, an artist that I tend to follow quite a bit that I'm trying to learn from. He goes with the grid method. I've tried it and I just can't quite grasp it just yet. So for me, this works better for me right this minute. But you can look into that. It's there's plenty of examples available online. But anyway, sorry for that little rant. All right, so there we go. I've got a head and shoulders. We're not going as far as knees and toes yet. Okay, anyway. So from here, I'm just going to go and make these really big circles here. This is just going to be sort of a way to mark where our eyes are going to go. And I don't always make them perfectly round. I do sometimes kind of curve them, mostly just because when I look at a picture of a skull, the eye socket is slightly curved there. I don't curve it quite exactly like an eye socket in pictures, but whatever. It's just little bitty things like that just kind of serve as a reminder for what the purpose of each little thing is. It's just kind of make little bitty marks.
That she has used a semicolon correctly. That's ChatGPT, man. Also, another dead giveaway. You see that dash there? That is like classic ChatGPT. No one puts that dash in regular sentences, like that big fat dash. And then the pictures are just obviously AI generated.
And these little circles, we can go ahead and kind of make an ear. Now, I am often not quite sure if my ears are going to show in my drawing as I do it. So I don't always like to draw out the full ear, or I'll draw out kind of a full ear shape, but I don't go through with I'm not so much worried about how perfect the shape of it is or anything right this second. This is more just, again, about placement, and also it can be sort of helpful with like trying to measure out the width of the mouth.
DECA is very supportive. They're 24 hours. Anytime that I need to get someone on the phone, even if my work
what I mean by that
I can call her supervisor.
Is that one of the ways to find the width of the mouth is that we're gonna go right here from like just the tip, the corner, top, whatever of the ear, and we're just gonna make a little line curving down. Now I've seen this done a couple of different ways. Some people go more just like a diagonal line and then down. So it's really whatever.
Yet we're still excluded.
But we're just gonna curve this down to the chin.
We must hold systems accountable for excluding and oppressing fat people. It's time to confront the prejudice that makes exclusion acceptable and fight for systems that include us all. We've been unheard for too long. It's time to speak out, demand better, and make our voices impossible to ignore. We owe it to the next generation to create a world where everyone has the freedom to
And sometimes I don't quite like how this lands, so I may go back and change it up a little bit later, but I do like the starting point of that. So, essentially, it's just going to go, that just marks off that the mouth will go from here to here.
Similarities that she's trying to draw there. Like, oh, black people, that's not actually her.
And if you want to, from here, you can actually erase some of these guidelines. You don't need the full circle coming through anymore at this point, so you can kind of get rid of that. Another thing with this being a pseudo skull is kind of just where that circle is. It ends where the top jaw is.
What the fuck is this? I don't think she's put them there, but why has TikTok put them there? Look, either way, if you want me to actually listen to your opinions on something, then say them yourself. Don't have a fucking AI model do it for you. It's incredibly lazy. Like, if you're gonna display an insane opinion like this, and say it with your fucking chest. Not only is the level of oppression completely different, the at the end of the day,
So,
being fat is ultimately something that is in most
I
people's
think I'm
control.
gonna
Just to an
actually
extent. At the very least, I'm
redo
sure we can all
that
agree
line
that it's
just a
definitely
little
more
bit.
in your control than your race or the color of your skin. Now, the reason that I'm not saying that it's
And I
like
do like this
completely
just
in your
because
control what weight you are is because
we
I'm not
can kind
fucking
of play with
idiot,
it
and
just a
I'm
little
also not one of
bit.
these like silly alpha male podcasts that claim that if you're fat, it's your fault and you deserve no sympathy whatsoever. No, that's not how the world works. I'm aware of that. Like, I completely understand in a world like the one that we're living in how easy
Also, it is a little bit difficult for me to quite get my arm to move the way I want it to at this particular angle, but oh well, whatever, it's fine. Now, as I go in and start making more details to it, we can make the mouth, a little bit wider, a little bit less wide, just because, everyone's face is a little bit different. Some people have a wider set mouth than others. Perfectly fine. All right, anyway, but this does make a good start. Now I am going to also come in and make these circles just a little bit closer to my nose line, and I will show you why here in just a second. Now again, these are just eye sockets. Nobody's actual eye is this big. Keep in mind that when you, and I guess some of what I've read recommends taking an anatomy class if possible. But when you do look at anatomy, and you look at any diagrams of a skull or just a head in general, you do have to kind of keep in mind that it's not just that hollow bone, that there are different muscles and things like that that are also going into it to hold the eyeball itself in place. So just kind of keep that in mind. It looks like a big old space, and it kind of is, but it's not as insane as it may seem initially. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make an outline for an eyebrow. This may not end up being the final shape, honestly, but again, placement, not detail. And we are going to use our brow line as kind of the guide. So
people really underestimate just how good it is for your body to exercise every now and then and have a decent diet. Obviously, it's not like a cure-all, fix-all drug, but it really does help. Like, even things you'd never fucking imagine it helps with. Like, your skin will be better, your ears will be healthier, your sleep will be way better, you'll be happier because the dopamine, the hormones that it does when you do a good workout, it's magic, man. Like, as well as the obvious ones, like reduced risk of cancer, reduced risk of heart attack, reduced risk of chronic pain, pretty much
that may be the shape, I don't know. Right, so we'll do the same thing over on this side.
Is like if someone was a chronic smoker, smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day, went to the doctor, said they had lung cancer, the doctor blames it on their smoking, and then they went on TikTok and said, see, the doctor ignored all of my symptoms and blamed my lung cancer on my smoking, and I find that fucking ridiculous. It's like, no, the illness is most likely a result of the other, or at the very least, not being helped by what you're doing. BMI doesn't tell the whole story. It's a flawed metric that reduces health to a single number. A third of doctors still rely on BMI, ignoring the complexity of health in fat bodies. See, this is another thing that I don't like, that
and
when
then
fat
from here,
activists
I
bring
do
this sort
like
of
to
thing up.
kind of go
As
for
someone
the
who's worked in a
nose,
hospital before, I think people vastly
kind of as a
overestimate
starting
just how
point.
much BMI is relied
And
on
I do
by
have a
doctors
couple of
and nurses. So on
stencils
top
just
of
to
that,
kind of
it's
help,
like,
again,
if someone
much like
goes
with the
into
protractor at the
clinic
beginning.
and they are measured for BMI, and let's say
I'm
that
not the most
one
steady-handed,
person is
so
morbidly obese and
using a
another who
stencil
has,
or something
a
is
six-pack
usually
and
pretty
fucking
helpful for me
biceps
for
or whatever, right? Like someone who looks
making
in much
some of the
better shape,
circles.
and they happen to have the
So
exact
I am
same
going
BMI.
to
The doctor isn't bad
check out a
enough
couple of
to
these and
treat
figure
those
out
two
which
people
size I
the
want to use
exact
for
same.
the
Like,
middle of the
BMI
nose.
like there are some people who interpret the love yourself rhetoric
And
as like
when I
a
get
purely negative
toward the
thing,
end of
because it
this, like I
encourages
said,
you
that
to never change,
I feel like
right? And then
this
there are some
circle's
people
just a little
who
bit
take
too
the love
big.
yourself
That's
rhetoric
all
as
well and
a
good,
signal
because
to
again,
never
we can
change,
trim
right?
it
And there's
down
this
if we
idea
need
that,
to.
like, in order
So I'm going to use
to
the
lose
bigger
weight,
one.
to change your
I'm
body,
going
to
to
work
put
out, you need to hate
this number
how you
7, the
currently
line on the
look.
number
But in my
7,
opinion,
into the
reason
middle.
that you should be working out, the reason why you should want to lose weight is
Sorry, I'm just going to line it up with
like,
the
you loving
drop
your
down
body
line.
should be the motivation that you need to work out, to exercise, to diet properly. Hating yourself isn't going to get you anywhere. It's just going to lead to self-hatred. So being dicks to people like this isn't going to fucking help either. I fully believe in loving yourself.
So the cool thing with this too is that it can also be used like a ruler. So from there, I'm going to drop down just a little bit, and I am going to make a straight line coming across. Now for here, we're going to actually come through, we're going to be making this little wedge type shape. So I'm going to bring this part down at a slight angle.
What it's like to fly on Alaska Airlines when you're plus size.
And then I'm going to make this come up. So this is going to be a straight up from the corner here.
Does require that you buy 2 seats ahead of time if you do not fit comfortably in
And
With Alaska Airlines,
same on
they
this
will reimburse you
side.
for your second seat if there was an empty seat on the aircraft before your plane departed.
And then we're just going to bring this and point it up toward the nose. You know what, I might actually make this part a little bit longer. These are actually going to be the guidelines for your nostrils themselves, so how big or how wide you make them is going to be entirely dependent on your reference image. You know, of course, some people have a very small, almost pinch type nose. Some people have a wider nose. I myself, well, I'm mixed. I have a black person nose. Alright, anyway. Sorry, had to. I gotta joke on myself just a little bit here and there as I go. Anyway. So again, these are just going to be guidelines, so we will kind of erase these as we go. So we're going to come to the ends of these of this circle here, and we're just going to very lightly just make a line coming up. And we're going to kind of curve that up toward the line. Right? Right.
Who have no control over it. Like, there are certain conditions that completely prevent certain people from losing weight. Should they be ashamed as well? Because they look the exact same. If you put an overweight person who is in control of their bodies next to an overweight person who isn't, they will look the exact same. There's no way to distinguish visually between each one. Should they both be equally ashamed if they ask for a seatbelt extension? Obviously fucking not. It's just keeping yourself safe.
Things that plus-size travelers hate. When the tray table can't come down, worrying about asking for a seatbelt extender. Having little to no.
I'm in an impossible situation.
And I may come and reshape the nostrils a little bit later too, but I'm just going to make that.
So, have you chosen your eternity?
Eternity. Now play.
I like to say that the shapes kind of look like a letter P or a D or something. I know my descriptive powers can be a little bit odd sometimes, but it's just, you know, small descriptions that help me to remember how to shape something. And then we're just gonna kind of make some little circle. Just make some circles. We're gonna draw our nostrils, just kind of coming around with those guidelines, and we're just gonna kind of follow those and just kind of round them out some.
Have a bit of an issue with, but first of all, let's start on a point of agreement. Yeah, airline seats getting smaller is fucking, like, outrageous. They were uncomfortable enough fucking 10 years ago. They're uncomfortable now. It's not good. And for the record, I'm not a big guy, right? I'm 5'10", and I'm like as average as you can get. I'm not too skinny, I'm not too big, I'm just a boy, really. And I wouldn't say that I'm comfortable when I fly on an airline, right? So I could not fucking imagine what it's like for people who are bigger than me. But I guess first and most obviously, you buy a car, right? You own the fucking car. You do not own the plane. In order for, you know, plane companies and airlines to accommodate for people who are overweight, you would need to change the entire airline. Like, you can't have a section that has bigger chairs for the same price as the section that the regular section for people who aren't as big, because then it's not fair to the people who aren't as big that other people are getting far more space for the same amount of money. But then if you charge them more for those bigger spaces, then that becomes a problem as well, because JB will complain that she's being forced to pay more simply because of her size. And she already is a habitual complainer that she needs to pay for 2 seats most of the time. However, if they were to grant you a seat for free, once again, that creates a huge problem where it's not fair on anyone else who is getting 1 seat for the price of 1 seat. People who are overweight can't really be accommodated for without making it grossly unfair on everyone else. The only options you really have are...
And then we're just going to go through and make some shapes for your eyes.
And yeah, not 28 without a
Alright, so now that I have all these pieces in place, we're going to go ahead and start coloring, kind of. Okay. So first, I'm just going to take this particular brush. I think it's just an eyeshadow blending brush, whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to take that, I'm just going to dip it into some charcoal powder.
whatever's going on. People are
And
thinking like some sort of domestic
I'm
violence
just gonna kind of
situation,
start off
maybe. Which, yeah, I mean, it wasn't too
with
dissimilar to
the
that, but
eyebrows.
maybe the perpetrator wasn't exactly who you expected. There was an old GoFundMe made that people also attributed to that sort of situation.
And this
It has been deleted, but I'm using Megan Ann's YouTube
is a
channel
good way
as
to
a time
go
capsule
to
watch it
begin.
again, to go show us some love if you're watching.
That way your eyebrows aren't just, you know, just a bunch of little small lines.
For far too long, I've been forced to hide my pain, burying secrets that nearly cost me my life. I almost died from sepsis. In that moment of desperate clarity, I realized how fragile life truly is, and it's nothing short of a miracle that I'm here today. But surviving sepsis was only the beginning of my battle. For over a year, and even longer in some ways, I've been fighting relentless trauma, isolation, and loss. I was trapped in a controlling, abusive relationship that drained every part of me, leaving scars that run deep both physically and emotionally. I was forced to mask my suffering while the public only saw fragments of a life that I no longer recognize as my own. After a harrowing hospital stay, I was discharged and placed in a hotel, a temporary refuge that barely shields me from the chaos behind closed doors. At 28, as a disabled person with no financial safety net and virtually no family to turn to, I now face the impossible task of rebuilding my shattered life. Every day is a struggle to reclaim my voice, to heal physically,
And we can just kind of take some of that
mentally,
excess
emotionally,
and we
to
can
piece
just
together
kind of
a future
bring
that
that
feels
down
safe and hopeful. I share all of this not for pity,
to sort of
but to
make
be brutally
the
honest
shadow
about the cost of my
for
journey
the
and to
nose.
ask for your help during this critical moment. Your support, whether through donations, shares, or words of encouragement, will help me secure
And we can of
short-term
course add more
housing,
shadow
cover
to it in a
essential
little
needs,
while,
and
but
obtain the
for right
legal
now,
guidance I
we're just
urgently
gonna
require
start here.
to hold those responsible for my abuse accountable. If you're willing to hear more, I'm ready to share the specifics of the terror and betrayal I've endured, details that are as raw as they are painful. If you reach out to me privately, I refuse to let the
Now from
darkness
here,
that's haunted me
I
remain
am
hidden
gonna
any
go
longer.
ahead
Every bit of
and
support
kind of
matters.
just
Every
darken
dollar,
the
every kind word,
nostrils,
every shared
and then I'm gonna
story
kind of
is a
go
step
over the
towards
eye shape, and
reclaiming
I'm
my
gonna
life and
use
shining a light on the
a soft
injustices
charcoal
that
pencil
I
for that.
and countless others have suffered in silence.
Right, so now I have the outline done, and I also went ahead and drew in the shapes for the reflection in the eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of color in the pupil. Now if you go a little over the lines that you're making here, that's fine. You can just kind of, you can go back over it with an electric eraser later and fix it. It's fine.
There's this fucking great moment where she's trying to make a phone call, but she doesn't want to type the number into the phone book herself, so she's trying to get the officer to like do it for her. Because again, it's just her being fucking entitled and trying to make life as difficult as possible. Because she's just that kind of gal.
Here we go. Boom, here we go. Hit the thing. Can you hit the thing? Do I only get one call?
Can you come?
Yeah.
Make those?
Remember that drone that showed up later? You guys pushed everything. Oh, yeah, see the phone's not working. You want to try it again? Here, I'll have you push the button. Ready?
No, here we go. You can push them by yourself.
It's not working when I do it.
We're gonna go over the eye.
If you do that one, you're just gonna get a ticket then.
I'll tell you what, it looks as though the boxing class didn't work too well for her, because she can't even punch a fucking phone number in.
This is JATLYMN, IG4, CH. Oh, they're hanging out.
All right, sir. Let's
No,
go.
they're right here. Do you want to talk to them? Do you want? Yeah, here. They don't. They gave me a ticket though. Criminal warning. Oh, we're just connecting. Oh.
All right, you're good. Let's go.
That's your trespass warning. I mean, that's like a fucking
Alright,
perspective,
so
and it's
now
so
that I
good.
have
Like, it
those
makes
bits
such
carved
good
out,
video. It's like,
I am going to just take my blending stumps, and I'm just gonna kind of use that. I'm just kind of working on the iris right now, but I'm just gonna use the little blending stump to just kind of spread that around. Now I am gonna go in little circles and kind of go a little outside of the lines. It just blends it a little bit better. Make sure that the line isn't quite so harsh.
I can't get up unless you take the cuffs off. Although, to be fair, even if they took the cuffs off, she wouldn't be able to do anything. Well, you know, actually, I take that back. You can't form a Rasengan unless the cuffs are off. You also she can't weave any hand signs. I get it now. Yeah, I understand your game here. Although, if you had the fucking, if you were big brain, you'd just go sage mode, because you could just stay completely still for that. Maybe that's why she's stalling. She's building up that sage energy. I'm sure no one was expecting this much anime references in a fucking Dan Kijabo video, by the way. It goes against everything I've ever stood for.
I mean, you know they do cops in jail? They rape them in the ass. They rape them in the fucking... I remember I'm walking into today, you're disabled woman.
Okay, well, you're under arrest, so we're not detaining you. You're under arrest.
right to return, I have the right to
You sure
return.
do, and you can also rent out. That would be a great thing to start with.
That's really funny. That's fucking jokes. I don't even have, like, he's done my job. He should be a commentary YouTuber. That's fucking so funny.
I'm having a pencil crisis. Please, someone save me. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot.
And then we're just gonna kind of make some darker lines coming in, just sort of at random. So we're still just gonna kind of keep with the blending stump.
People and fat people are on the same level of oppression here, so I back it. You know, she can sing that song all she wants.
And you got it all on tape, what you just did. Another 99-yard state violation that you made up, Canadian. What a bunch of facts. What a bunch of facts.
Ooh, throwing slurs around as well. This is not very positivity of you, Jay Bray. Jay Bray. No, it's Jay Bay, isn't it? Bray is closer to that cheese than it is her.
Are real officers here now?
No, Dr. Leland, what
Oh
are you
my
doing?
god, I'm not doing well at all, doctor. These people are trying to hurt me. I was trying to seek refuge here, love. I'm having a mental
And
health
from
crisis.
here, I am going to take one of my super dark pencils. So right now I just have a 10B on hand. I have a 12 and a 14 somewhere. I just don't know where they're at right this exact very second. But I am going to take that, and I'm just going to make some lines just kind of coming out from the pupil.
It's nighttime. My shift is over. What the fuck am I doing here? Like, what is actually going on?
Yep.
I am?
Yep.
Okay. That's good. Take me to jail.
We'll get you there.
There we go! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! The real heroes. I was watching y'all the whole time.
And then I'm going to also take my mechanical pencil and make sure that that guy is sharpened up into a good point. And I'm going to come through and kind of in between, I'm going to make some longer ones. Just some little, just those little spines.
You should be able to transport her from one place to another without having to call and meet on more resources. She is successfully fucking you all. Alright, I think we've seen the extent of this, to be fair. We'll skip to the ends. They managed to finally get her in the fucking ambulance with the help of, you know, ambulance reinforcements, I guess. And then she just screams a lot more, but she's in, like, even when she's inside the vehicle, handcuffed, she's just not giving up.
Weird, bro. Y'all are really, really weird. You look like you're I'm super uncomfortable. We can get that
In the end, Jalen was charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass, misuse of the 911.
You know the lore, you
And
remember
then I'm just going to take take a small brush, and I'm just going to kind of go in little circles, just kind of spread a little bit of the charcoal and graphite around. Just kind of add into the iris.
Guarantee you didn't play the game. And you think you know everything? Well, I don't. That's why I'm watching a recap right now, and you're watching it with me. You're welcome.
Yes, it means you won't see me again unless it's in the next life. I wish I could have told you everything.
Now I am trying to do this sort of lightly so that way I can still see where I made the little spines stand out.
Aunt Kate is
This letter
dead.
serves 2 purposes. To say goodbye, and to bequeath to you my house in Kensdale. This next part may be a mistake, and God's forgive me if it is.
I remember this.
When you settle in, there's something in the attic I need to pass on to you. Look for a tape, but know that once you watch it, there is no turning back. Stay safe, my dear. With you always, Aunt Kate.
Right, and then we
All
watched
right.
all the Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Wooly. Yeah.
Today we're going to make an apple pie.
Right, and then I'm going to go back to, actually, I'm going to go ahead and go to my,
Actually recapping all of the
to my charcoal
games.
pencil.
Like that, like in a TikTok
And
fashion.
I'm going to bring this line down just a skosh.
Time for the next
Now this part is going to be just kind of touching on the areas that I know are going to be a bit darker. And we're just going to darken those up real good because we're going to be coming over it and blending everything out. Just a sec. So from there, I'm just going to go up here. And I'm only going to bring that down just a little bit. That's going to be because of where the inner eyelid is. And then we're going to bring this up and around and kind of follow that shape.
Amanda got possessed, like Molly.
And I'm gonna leave that right about there. Now, if I need to, I may come and I probably will actually come and erase just a little bit of this, just to make my water line.
That's how you get a bitch to shut up. Throw a brick at it.
You're Riley, aren't you? Kate and I were.
And also going to draw out the upper eyelid. I am going to go over with charcoal again too in just a second, but I do like to start it off with a pencil because last time I tried to do it without doing that, it just turned out wonky.
And it's very, very dangerous.
The worst puzzle.
Hi, friends. I'm Amanda. Have you ever wanted to go far, far away? How did you...
I remember the raccoon.
Who even are you? Go away! Good night, Riley.
And I'm Wooly.
Are you even paying attention? I feel weird.
I say that to the
Go
boys
out a
every
little bit.
time.
And come out just a bit more. And I'm gonna erase that first line down that I made.
Oh, Riley, please. Oh, God, I'm praying your grace that someone can get this to you. You can stay safe so I can protect you. Everyone who's trying to figure it out, they're all dead.
I went to your aunt's house. All I wanted was to tell Joyce back. I screamed at Kate to give me the tape. And then... that creature. Kate, get out of here.
I remember this now.
So right here, I'm going to start with just using the blending stump just on the
We went down a hatch, bro.
It's
They
the
had
bottom
like a little
eyelid.
submarine, hatch down there. Okay. I know where we're at now. We're in the sewers. That's how we end up in the sewers. Okay, I'm glad I watched that recap because now I know what we're getting ourselves into and where we're starting, all right?
Please leave your message after the tone.
It's not like this is the most...
And I will switch this out and grab like a sheet of paper or something in just a second, because right now I'm just kind of using it to shield the drawing from my hands, and where I probably have some
This is
charcoal powder on the
100%
side of my
Molly was doing
hands.
those TikToks back in the day. Yo, Juicy, tonight's the night. Meet at the usual spot. Jack in. We're gonna do a thing. It's gonna go viral.
Right, and then I'm just going to take this smaller brush, and I'm just going to kind of spread the charcoal powder around right here for the eyelid.
Roger, let's find this rat.
I'm also kind of connecting that shading to the shadows that deal with the nose. And we do the same thing on the other side.
I'm the question mark guy. Whoa. All right, here we go. We got left shift to run, control to... Crouch with your legs wide open like that? That's wild. Why is it shaking? Stop shaking. Stop throwing it back. Okay. Okay, looks like we got a code we need to enter. Already with the pozos, bro. Sinus protection.
And now from there,
So
I'm
the
going to
statues
take
have
my
something to do with
blending
this, all right?
sample more
Alright,
time.
check it out, because one of them
And you
is
can use a
missing light.
tortillion or even a
So you
Q-tip if
click
you
on
need
the
to
light
for
bulb.
doing
So
this,
you
by
find
the
the
way.
light bulb to light up the statue, and that should do something. Okay?
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of
And
make
then
sure
you're
that we're
hot.
not,
And
leaving
you're
any
guilty.
weird little white spaces in the
Willow,
darkened area for the
Blake
nostrils.
J. Remember, no family photos allowed in employee cubicles. Why? That's me. Blake J. All right, we got Blake J. We got Louis Vuitton.
And then I'm going to come around the outside of the nostrils also with my charcoal.
We got a
I'm
train.
just going to trace that line that I already
Okay.
made
All
earlier.
right, there's a train.
I'm going to come down
know
just a
what we're fighting
little
this.
bit lower and then
We can
curve
throw
that
them. Ah,
around.
damn, my worst enemy, bro. A kitty gate. I've never been
Now,
able
I
to
know
figure
that
out
looks a
how to
little
get
bit
over them
wonky,
in
but that's
games.
okay
If you wanna keep
because
anyone
we're going to
out of
create a
the
shadow
space,
there.
just put
So
one of these gates in a game.
it's
It works
fine.
all the time. Kathy T. Okay. All right, let's see. Kara M. June B. Barry S. Okay. I'm just trying to memorize things just to make I don't know, but because this game it like does things, all right? If you're asking, I know you're asking. This game makes last one made it so overly complicated. Is that Obama? Oh shit, we broke into Obama's office. All right, this should open the door though. Which door does it open? Is this? Aha! What?
now in areas that I'm going to have a shadow, I did add extra charcoal, so I had to go over it just a little extra dark.
Or the Explorer goes to space with Master Chief.
Now for this,
And the
I'm
Doom
just going
guy.
to go back
Can
to
you
my
say
little brush.
Blood and gore. Did they put a puppy in this one? They put a flower
And we're just
in
going
that
to kind
one.
of go in little
They put
circles
some trash in here. Aw, damn, they called
to
you trash,
fade
bro.
it out and
That's
also
crazy.
to
There's a sock in this
add
one.
both skin tone and shadow.
Oh no, I have a feeling these are small pozos, man. A tree and a door. You're joking. We just started the game. Look at these pozos. We're gonna figure it out. There's a baby sleeping in that monitor. Whose baby is that?
Hi, I'm Amanda. And I'm Wooly. Today, we're on a super secret spy scavenger hunt. A scavenger hunt is a game where you try to find all the things on a list. Come on, let's go.
Wait, so is it?
Are you ready to start the hunt? Whoever finds everything wins the prize.
Did this guy break into here to give Kate the tape? Like he stole the tape and then took it to her?
See a purple fire hydrant?
It's right there.
Good job! I see it over there. Willie, check the purple
Alright.
fire hydrant off our list.
The next thing on the list is a door with 3 windows.
Can you help us find a door with 3 windows?
Yeah, it's right there.
So, let's see, found the mark right there. So I'm just going to go straight above it. And then make me a line there. And then same over here. And if you feel like you may have made it too made the mouth a little bit too small, not quite wide enough, I do think you can usually kind of line it up with the
In
iris
a
of the
specific
eye.
order.
Right, so I'm going to erase my guidelines for that.
Okay, so I gotta deactivate the shit? Okay, the symbols have something to do with it. Did we see a fire hydrant? There's a door with 3... Can you find a door with 3 windows? There's a door with 3
You don't necessarily
windows.
have to erase the
There's a tree,
guidelines, I
there's a
just do
circle,
because
and
I
there's a
am
light
making the
post.
mouth just a
I feel like it might be the
little
door
bit
with 3
higher
windows, 'cause that's
than
what's on the screen
where I
right
initially
now. Is
marked
that
it,
how obvious
and I
it
will
is?
confuse myself if I see the lines.
Okay, I got one.
So So I'm just going to kind of start off just making kind of a straight-ish line. So, or easier is that we can kind of come from like the middle point of here and make like a cross.
Or a brick from your car acting up? We got you covered, Bumblebee! For a great low rate, go with the
And
general.
you can kind of make a little U shape
Feel the
right
baking
there.
soda help break down plaque and stains for a whiter smile.
And then connect the U shape to the corners.
Never get a better shot.
Now I do most of the time like to start with the center of the mouth just because I feel like if I start at the top or bottom lip I tend to make those just a little bit too dark and then they look wonky. Right. So that little dip in the mouth obviously is going to be the separation of the lips, but it's also a good way to line up where the Cupid's bow is going to be on the lip.
I have to do it in a specific order. Can I play more of this?
I found it. A
And kind of the same as the bottom.
That's how you do it. You go back and forth. See, I'm smart.
Great work, Super Secret Spy Team. This is fun.
So that is kind
What's
of our
this, a
starting
tree?
point
Can you
for
find a
the
tree?
mouth.
An old sock.
Pause!
So I'm going to grab my
We're gonna do
charcoal
sock.
and I'm going to go for the center line
one.
first.
Alright, I got this, man. Luckily, the security lockdown is gonna wait for me to finish a VHS tape and play with Walmart Dora. Hey! Hey. That's the one! Why can't I do it? Do I have to finish this?
Well, if it's on the list, we have to find it.
It's right there.
Can you help us?
Okay, it does it on its own. I have to wait for them. It's this one.
So now I'm just kind of coming in with my charcoal and kind of just shading
Why am I getting
sort of
happy?
in the shape,
I'm
in the
playing
general
Dora
shape
the
of the
Explorer,
lips.
bro.
Pete, you.
Cállate, güey. You're possessed.
You know what? I'm going to actually make this a little bit higher up.
The trash can is next.
Not too much, just
What's
a
the next
teeny
thing on the
little
list,
bit.
Wooly?
A stray dog?
Oh.
And if you
It's a
want to
straight dog.
kind of just sketch that out a little bit.
I don't think he's nice, and he's probably not a stray. He came out that backyard. He probably lives there. You guys are trespassing, so he has every right to bite you. And you, being a toddler, that's your natural predator. All right, here we go. This one, the dog. Right here. Uh-oh, that's bad. That's bad. Go back. The pit bull's right there. The pit bull is right there. That's a pit bull, bro.
Where's Puppy? We found him.
Exactly how to work all this equipment. The apple is finally rotten. This looks sad. Kind of an epic intro, though, not gonna lie. Okay, here we go.
Now I'm going to get back to it with just some shading. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of this, so there might be some points where I'm just going to get off of here, especially if I'm doing the same thing for quite some time. There's no need to really just sit here and make
To
you
this facility that the
suffer
guy
through
broke into
that.
10 years ago.
But I will go ahead and explain that a lot of this is still kind of
Is
just
Little
putting things in
Train still
place,
here?
but also to kind of give it its
Yep.
give it
There's
its
two of them now.
color, to
Dial
pre-color kind of.
9111 in case of emergency.
And I am trying to spread this around just also to begin creating with the skin tone. I'm mostly focusing right now on the areas that are going to be darker, because as I continue and I'm building up on it.
Well, I want to play this VHS tape real quick.
As I continue adding more, say, onto here, this is going to continue getting darker. So will this, but this one will end up in the end being darker than here. You get it.
Here we go.
Hi, I am.
Not sure how much explaining that part needed, but whatever, here we are.
And I'm Wooly. Amanda, look at all the candy. Don't you just love candy?
Yeah, I guess.
Swedish fish.
Does it seem kind of hazy?
Pretty epic.
Nope. It's another beautiful sunny day in our beautiful sunny neighborhood.
What? It's so dark and cloudy out
And
there.
it's even more beautiful because we're going to have a little treat. A little treat. It's good to eat. Oh, yes. We'll have a little. Ugh. Great.
This guy's always ruining shit.
Well, are you going to try to eat my ear or something, you weirdo?
Wooly, stop! Something's wrong. Look at him. He's so sad.
I'd eat your mutton chops, Wooly. Not even kidding. I'd eat your ribs too. Turn some of you into lollipops.
Are you feeling lost?
My mouth is watering.
Too. You know what, though? I want to help you feel better. When your friend is sad, how do you cheer them up?
Oh, that's an easy answer. Star. B.
You decide to give PCP a try.
Alright,
You can choose that
so I did go ahead and begin kind of just sketching an outline of the hairstyle that I'm going to go for. I debated on just going ahead and just putting it in all together, but for right now, I felt like just kind of sketching it in would be the way to go. And then I just went through and darkened the outline of the face and jaw, just so I don't lose my spaces. All right, and then from there, we're just adding a little bit of shadow, just like right underneath the chin and neck. Did leave a little bit of a space just to make it clear that that's what that is. And I'm just going to darken up the shoulders some. And for this I am just using a 2H, mostly because it'll be easy enough to erase if I do decide to reshape something here shortly. But for right now, I'm just going to go with a 2H, darken it up to where I can see it decently well, but also make sure that it's something I can erase in a little bit if I need to.
Long-term use can cause memory loss, cognitive difficulties, and mood disorders, with some users even facing thoughts of self-harm. PCP can easily trap your mind, creating a cycle of dependence that only gets tougher to break. As tolerance builds, you might feel the urge to take more to recapture that first high. And if you try to stop, withdrawal symptoms like anxiety, agitation, and depression can kick in.
And just probably mark out where the collarbone's going to
It's time
be.
to bring out the big guns. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is about 100 times stronger than morphine.
Now again, a lot of what I'm doing right now is just to outline things.
You should also know that measuring fentanyl
Good thing about doing this is that it doesn't have to be
once recognized as a medical miracle,
the end-all be-all of where I'm placing things. It's just kind of so I don't lose my places and things.
Viewers searching for it and moving in your system. After ingestion, it typically takes about 60 minutes for mescaline to begin
And since
its journey
I
to your
have
blood.
more or less figured out where I want everything to begin and end, I am going to go ahead and apply my tape to the picture. The main reason I even bother to do this really is just so that when I'm done coloring in the background that I have a more sharp edge to it. Just make it look a little less chaotic.
A neurological condition where sounds may take on colors or visuals carry taste isn't out of the question either. But just as mescaline can open doors to dazzling
And that part
visuals,
really is
it can
optional.
also
Like
lead
you don't
down darker
have to
When taken in
tape.
high doses,
I just do. I know some people though when they do decide they're going to tape it, they usually probably do it at the beginning, but not I, because I got to make stuff weird.
like nausea, vomiting, and dizziness may also surface even as your mind spirals.
But I do it just in case I decide to change out how big I want to make something or what I want to do as far as the hairstyle is concerned. So that way I know where exactly I'm going to end everything.
They wound up hospitalized, and the oldest among them when Cosby was planning a TV comeback. But the universe had other plans for it.
So just kind of adding some shadow. I'm just dipping my brush into a little bit of charcoal powder, and this person's head is turned slightly to the side, and I'm going to add some shadow under the chin coming down this way too.
That he made some shocking revelations. The 2005 document showed that Cosby had admitted to using quaaludes to sedate women, although he maintained that the encounters were consensual. Some sources even say he confessed to using the drugs on teenagers. During the trial, Constant testified that Cosby had given her pills, calling them
I'm just going to make
claiming that they
a
would take
little
the
line
edge.
coming down this way, and I'll darken that line here shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and make a line here.
Sketchy middle-aged guy trying to sell you a pack of pills for $10? Sure you have. $10 says he was trying to sell you Tyneptine. Dealers who sell this drug have been known to lurk
I'm going
around
to darken the collarbone right here just a little bit.
popping up behind unsuspecting folks with the promises of a mystery pill they swear will help relieve pain and depression. Tyneptine, nicknamed gas station heroin, is not your typical tricyclic antidepressant. There is actually a lot more to it than the guy at the gas station is letting on. Unlike typical antidepressants, this drug produces effects akin to those of opioids when taken in extremely high doses. And while this may sound like fun, it also means that things can start to get pretty ugly very quickly. Tyneptine was initially created as a prescription medication in regulated labs abroad, and was originally designed to have an antidepressant effect through its influence on glutamate and neuroplasticity.
No, I'm actually going to move that line over a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and do this one with charcoal. There we go.
However, things didn't exactly go as planned. The Tyneptine you'll find in U.S. gas stations and online usually comes in capsule form, with unverified doses and inconsistent potency levels. So you really can't predict just how high you might end up. When consumed, Tyneptine takes about 30 minutes to an hour to kick in. It starts out with a desired euphoric high, but things take a dark turn as the dose increases, but also depending on the user's tolerance level of the drug. Users may experience drowsiness, dizziness, dry mouth, and constipation. Add a little more, and you start to experience blurred vision and lucid dreams. To make matters worse, these symptoms don't just go away immediately. In extreme cases, users have reported experiencing respiratory depression, seizures, and even cardiac arrest. Anxiety and panic attacks have also been reported among users who overdosed on this drug. In summary, this is one psychiatric
Now, I did mark those, I mean, even with the charcoal, I did do them pretty lightly, and that's just so that where the actual line is will still stand out, but it'll also kind of fade right into the shadow. But
instead of bringing down the bad guys, he gets
but just to make sure that it doesn't get lost in the shadow. It's still going to be a little bit darker.
Part of the problem it was supposed to fix. Buprenorphine, a synthetic opioid, is made from D-bane.
Sorry, I'm really sleepy, so not sure if what I just said made any sense. But anyway, we just don't want to lose our markings, so that way we can kind of see where like the next tendons are or whatever, and what exactly is stretching here, I guess. And then we have the shadows coming from it.
When it binds to the opioid receptors,
You know, just fading everything together.
Other opioids do. It provides just enough to trick your brain into thinking it's satisfied. However, just like vaccines, the key to using buprenorphine to treat opioid use disorders is finding the perfect dose for each patient. Things begin to get ugly when users take even a little more than required. In extremely high dosage, when your body just doesn't make enough stress hormones, leaving you feeling fatigued and weak. Xylazine. In the treasure hunt for the next big high, there seems to be no limit to what people are willing to try. They've explored mushrooms, cacti, cat, and even synthesized their own research chemicals. What's next, you ask? Xylazine, an animal sedative. Xylazine is a veterinary medicine that acts as a tranquilizer, sedative, and pain reliever for animals. Chemically, it's similar to Clonidine, a medication for high blood pressure. Xylazine primarily works by targeting the brain's alpha-2 adrenergic receptors, slowing down the release of neurotransmitters like norepinephrine. Its chemical structure is cleverly crafted to mimic certain naturally occurring neurotransmitters, which is why it effectively sedates animals. Notice how it's strictly made for animals? Yeah, there's a whole group of people who either didn't notice or simply don't care because they use it anyway. Okay, to be fair, a good number of people who use Xylazine didn't actually set out to do so. They just can't tell when it's been introduced into their system because it's usually mixed in with some other popular opioids sold by street vendors. Some sources claim that Xylazine gives a feeling of euphoria similar to what you might get from using opioids, but the jury is still out on this. Whichever the case, make no mistake, xylazine is not an opioid. It's a tranquilizer that can throw your body into a deep state of sedation. The worst part is, if you do get into trouble with this one, opioid antidotes like naloxone won't be helpful at all. Xylazine's effects are far from euphoric. Users often feel drowsy, disoriented, and sedated. Some people report feeling heavy and disconnected, almost as if they were trapped in a fog. In extremely bad cases, xylazine can bring on serious respiratory depression, where your breathing slows down to the point of stopping. Your skin may become cold and hypothermia can set in. Necrotic skin ulcers can appear, not just at the injection site, but across the body, leaving deep, decaying wounds. Severe cases can lead to coma or death, especially when combined with other substances like opioids. There's no antidote for xylazine overdose, making it all the more terrifying. U-47-700. Pink. If you've been keeping an eye on the news about drug use, you've probably heard of Pink. This drug has a rep for being deadly. It's so dangerous that any mention of it being used for recreational purposes almost always involves a tragic headline. After being developed in the late 1970s as a potential alternative to morphine, this drug was quickly abandoned by medical practitioners and is not approved for use in any country in the world. Today, it circulates as a designer drug, often sold online and in various forms, including powders and counterfeit pills that sometimes resemble legitimate prescription opioids. A lot of people who use Pink don't take it solo. They tend to mix it with other drugs, which, ironically, actually makes it all the more dangerous. On the streets, these mixtures have really cool names. Take, for instance, New York Post. A mixture of Valoryl fentanyl and U-47-700 and Beats by Dre Unstoppable. A mixture of heroin, fluoronyl fentanyl, Valoryl fentanyl, and U-47-700. Pink is purely the irony.
Right.
No one really
So I think from here I'm going to go ahead and start kind of drawing in the shirt a bit.
Mix it into other drugs they sell.
So
Spicing things up a bit. When really they're making
we
it
are
even
going
more
to go
dangerous.
right here.
Some dealers even sell Pink to unsuspecting users by making them believe they are purchasing a prescription opioid. That's all the crazy drugs we have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You are big and strong. You climb giant mountains and hills. You catch all the mice in the world. That's how big you are. That is how big you are. And it's okay to go to sleep. It is okay to go to sleep, little one. Just sleep, little one. Go to sleep.
Dinner plans? New PF Chang's dinner specials make it easy. Starting at only $16.99, our all-new individually portioned dinner specials let you pick your starter, base, and entree. With 12 different entrees to choose from, there's so many combinations, we've lost count. Try new PF Chang's dinner specials tonight.
Welcome back to the We're having to look at your smug ass on the wheel.
So now I'm just kind of lightly drawing in the ear. Now in the reference image that I'm using, only really the bottom part of the ear is visible. So I'm just kind of drawing out that shape.
Like this tastes like. It's not great. Cardboard.
I think this part goes up a little bit more. More of a rounded shape.
I want my Honey Nut Cheerios. This is like Industrial Revolution food right here, boys. I'm gonna put this on like a solid, like a.
And her hair kind of blocks up the rest of it.
I know there's something worse. I know something worse.
I'm going to go ahead and erase the upper part of the ear, just because that is not going to be visible really in the end. And I don't want to accidentally draw it in when I don't need it or want it.
He's a funny guy on the internet, bro. Bring on the next one.
Okay. So there's a lot of shading that's about to go on. Essentially, first I'm going to just kind of start off by darkening some of these areas and using my paintbrush just to kind of fade everything into place before I start using, before I start adding detail.
Little ridges. Very fun little design. that. Oh shit.
Oh yeah. And it tastes like buñuelos.
Translate. Churro.
Buñuelos.
Churro.
Yeah, grandma's buñuelos. Carlos, tastes like buñuelos. Yep. See, Carlos wouldn't tell you this, but I used to come over to his house, and I loved to eat cereal from his house because he had the cool cereal. I had the off-brand shit.
Oh man.
He had the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
We had that one cereal that had roach in the bottom. Remember that?
Roach cereal.
Roach cereal?
Yeah.
What the? Yeah, I remember that.
Had a roach at the bottom, probably.
Roach cereal again.
Dude, it's cinnamon toast and cinnamon crunch stuff. Listen, this cereal, I would say A+.
Yeah, I would put A+.
A tier, definitely. It's not like,
It's nothing crazy. You know, it's pretty simple.
A tier. A tier. I have to eat that. Do you agree, Carlos?
I agree. Hell yeah.
Spin that shit. Ooh-wee. What the hell? Sucaritas. What the?
Zuccarita, dude. What the?
Mexican Frosted Flakes.
What?
It's Mexican Frosted Flakes. That's not Tony the Tiger, bro.
It's not?
That's his Mexican cousin, El Tigre Tony. Yo, should we do this? Should we for this one? Should we follow it up with Frosted Flakes and then have like a comparison?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to take a 2B pencil, and I'm just going to kind of make some little marks right here where the tear ducts will essentially be. So I'm going to make 2 little lines right here.
Instead of they're great, this is riquísimas.
That second line kind of leads into the inner part of the eyelid, and the first one is specifically the tear duct.
Check this out though, because this is common in Mexican packaging. It tells you, it has warnings on the corners. It says excess calories and excess sugars.
In America, that's just
I just sharpened up the edge a little bit just to make sure I can get into this small space.
So, Frosted Flakes, you gotta eat them.
It looks, honestly, it looks like the Tiger one, but it doesn't taste the same. Who knows how to glaze it better? A Mexican Tiger or
Probably the Mexican Tiger. Have you guys ever had this with bananas?
Your mind actually gets out. I had it with strawberries.
It's good, it's crunchy, it tastes like flakes that are frosted and glazed by... We have to compare it.
We have to.
El Tigre Tony.
Oh yeah, where would we put this though?
I would personally give it a B.
I was thinking of B. This is pretty simple. It's pretty simple, bro.
It's pretty good, but here's the thing,
Right?
I know across the board, most cereal, if not all cereal, gets, like when it's really soft.
Yeah.
Right? But certain cereals, even when they get soggy, they still taste pretty good.
This is one of those.
This is one of those.
Yeah.
Does that bump it up to A? I don't know if that bumps up to A because it tastes really good, right? But it's just sweet. I would consider it less dynamic
As a cereal, really.
I would consider it S tier. Here's why. In my opinion, it is the most versatile cereal that you can add things to. Bananas.
You do that to Cheerios. They did it on the box.
Yeah, but Cheerios taste like old people wrinkles, dude.
That's true. They do taste like old people.
This already tastes amazing, and you can. It's like you can add mods to the cereal.
That would unlock a whole other level of cereal.
The fact that it has DLC, I think puts it up.
I could settle it at A. I could settle it at A because it's not like blowing my mind. It's just really good.
Yeah, it's just really good. I would agree. To me, it's an S, but if you think it's a B, I can meet you in the middle at an A. Okay.
So basically you're just going around and just darkening everything, especially if there's going to be a shadow with it. You definitely want to kind of go and
Put it here, partner.
just draw those lines out a little bit darker. The side of the nose over here I am not only making darker but a little bit thicker because that's mostly going to be shadow. And I don't know how much I really want to darken this side, but a little bit. There we go.
Let's try American Frosted Flakes. They look exactly
Man had the whole bowl.
I'm not trying to. They look exactly the same. Yeah.
And yes, this process does get kind of tedious, not gonna lie, but
Alright, we got American
I
frosted.
think it's a pretty good thing when you're, like, especially if you're just stressed out and just need, you know, just to be a little mindless for a little bit, just to keep on going through and, you know, just sort of coloring, just doing your own thing here.
It tastes kind of the same. For me, this one's like a little bit, like a tiny bit more sugar though, which is weird. But it's also like, this has fucking probably high fructose.
Oh, the pieces are a little bit different. Milk test. Milk test. Ooh. Oh yeah, we should have been doing milk tests. Nope. It's important. That's good. I would honestly say they're like the same.
They're the exact same.
They're the exact same.
A tier. A tier. I don't know why, but like they're the exact same. It's crazy. I really don't know why.
They're literally exactly the same.
Alright, spin the wheel, Carlos.
Carlos wants Reese's Puffs. Reese's Puffs.
Nutri-Grain.
Okay, so first impression, it looks like someone chopped up a dish sponge that's been lightly used. It's very sticky. It's very sticky. It's a very, very
Fruit Loops are good.
Alright, so I think we've got a few extra things in place here, should be good to go. So I did kind of make a little bit of the outline of my ear. In the reference image that I'm using, you really only see the ear hole and that little fold right there. You see a little bit of that fold, but not too much. So that is where I'm at with this. So just kind of, and I'll come back and darken it later. Just right now, just slight shadow, just so we can tell where everything's at.
It was good. Very good.
Listen,
It's really good.
this is absolutely goated cereal. 100%.
I like that the flavor with Fruit Loops is subtle. I'm gonna have to say, this might be controversial, they're really, really good, but as a grown-up, they're not as magical as they were.
You gotta open up your heart, Juicy. You gotta open up your heart here, bro.
They're really good.
Reach deep down
They're really good, but like,
into your child self.
I would put these at A.
I would confidently put them at A.
100%.
Fine, A tier. A tier. A tier. I like yours though.
A tier.
So it's not like make your cock explode.
And I am adding a little bit of shadow on the side of the face, just where the hair is going to be, because of course the hair is going to cast a bit of a shadow on the face. So just
like something that would be S tier would be something that's like
add
super
that
unique.
in.
You know, like I feel like Lucky Charms is very unique cereal.
Love Lucky Charms, dude.
Like stuff like that, that's like S tier material for me.
Alright, we're not there yet though. Spin the wheel. Spin!
When will we find an S tier cereal? When will we find an S tier cereal? What the? Oh, you better go to Lucky
My
Charms.
charcoal powder. Just gonna darken that little circle down here for the chin.
There's like 2 ways to eat Lucky Charms. Both are right, but I'm just gonna do the right way. So you just kind of like get all these out.
Oh, what's this new one? Unicorn?
So they include all these like packing peanuts for the marshmallows in the box, so you get those out. Yeah. And then you get out the actual cereal. Just these little guys. Lucky Charms. Oh man. Lucky Charms is classic.
So now I'm going to use my monozer eraser and use that to play with the eyes.
I'm listening. What do you think about a narrator?
Snip that into
I'm making
an angled point.
Yeah, fine. Really good cereal.
So
I've
that
got
one
really-
snipped
I've
over
got-
like
I've
that.
personally got a lot
So
of
it's
good memories with
nice,
cereal.
nice
The
small
marshmallow is
point.
chicken. The milk is really good. I cannot.
So I'm gonna go through and we're just gonna kind of make some little lines coming out of here.
Normal cereal is just
So they're gonna be pretty
basic, it's
small
very
at first. I'm gonna go around the pupil with it initially, where some of the lines will be short, some will be long.
It's a good bite. That's why this cereal is fun, is because you get a variety of different flavors every time.
The bite's different every time.
The bite is different every time.
And then if possible, you can even go sort of on the darker black lines that you made and just sort of make a little,
It's one of the
just erase just a little bit in between.
Thank you, I guess. What do I do?
So that way it looks, it just kind of makes those lines look a little bit smaller. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, so hopefully you can see a little bit better what I just did.
Yeah, in different shapes. It's the exact same color. Look, if I mix them up, Try them.
They're the same, dude.
Okay. I'm going to zoom this in about as much as I possibly can, so bear with me just 1 second.
Cannot put it in S.
So now hopefully you can see that quite a bit better. I have it zoomed in about as much as I think I can without making it super duper blurry.
What are we gonna do if we don't find it?
And pardon me if my head gets in the way because I do have on some reading glasses. Being too far away from this makes everything blurry. So.
Big pops and go. Regular show pops. Go for it. Spin the wheel, Carlos. No, bro.
But the reading glasses just kind of help me make sure I'm getting really, really close up in there. I like these. It's like having a magnifying glass.
Pops, boys. Yeah, it makes me think of mobile homes. Trailer
Alright,
parks.
so I'm going to do the same on the other eye.
It makes me think of old popcorn, like cheddar cheese popcorn that's just been left out in the pantry for like, whoa.
Chill. Chill with the pop slander, bro.
Boys, it's Pops. Alright, Pops. Listen, that shit's gooder than a mother, bro. That shit's good as... I can't agree, man.
That shit's busting, bro.
I can't agree.
That shit's Z tier, bro.
No.
Yeah, Z at the bottom.
I just poured the milk. They're already soggy.
Yeah, it's part of the experience, though. It's the journey, bro.
I don't know about that, man.
I had maybe 2 bites, and I feel like I literally just can't eat anymore.
I agree with narrator.
It's not good.
So what do you think? S tier?
No. Not at all.
This is mid for me.
I'm thinking like
C? D?
No. I think like D or C.
Nah.
That's maybe.
Nah, this is not Nutrigrain level. I think
C.
I think
C would be okay.
For me, this is mid.
It still has good-ish flavor. I'll meet in the middle. S. C. I'll meet you in the middle. S.
I can't.
Now I'm getting my
Anything. I can't even put this above
in the middle. S. Put that shit at C. Boring ass cornflakes.
Pops. Reminds me of beatings.
And then I'm going to go around and I'm just going to kind of re-darken some of those darker lines.
Are you upset? No.
Sure. Oh, you see, we gotta think of this rationally, bro. I thought you were the most rational one here. You can't be reacting emotionally to Pops.
I'm not right. I'm good, dude.
If you react emotionally to Pops, he'll just beat you. You like that one? That was good. Yeah! Right and round! Hell yeah! Now, we can all agree that this is probably F tier.
No. Let's just... You won't even try it. So, it kind of looks like a dried wasp nest.
It's been like shredded up. Wait, eat the flakes. The flake isn't really that crunchy. I bet you. It has raisins in it, which are good if you're either 3 or 90.
And yes, I realize this may seem slightly counterproductive. I am going back here and kind of patting on them. But no, you can still see where these, where the lines are, the lighter lines that we made are. Essentially, some of them are going to be like bright, and some of them are going to be just to lighten everything up some. But from here, I am going to start from the bottom here, and these ones are going to be my much brighter ones.
Jack's Party Mix. Make some delicious holiday memories with and the rest of the gang. Sharing that holiday feeling with Jack's never gets old.
Now this is also optional, but I do sometimes like to go around a little bit closer to the people and sort of make like a little halo type thing. I think that's kind of what I've heard it called. So I'm trying to keep my hand from smearing on the other side. And now I'm just kind of doing the same thing on the other eye.
No middle, no compromise. Straight to hell. I wouldn't even feed that to my grandpa, dude. It's feeding it to your grandpa.
And we can come back in just a little bit and erase just to make some more of these brighter. But I do think this is usually a pretty good starting point for this.
Grown-ass men fight over cereal? Oh, I've never tried this. Super Mario cereal? The only time I've ever even seen this, my brother bought a box. I went to open it. He said, "Don't open it." See? Okay, this looks kind of crazy. It's full of artificial. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be power stars. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Radio. Oh, that's bad. Wait, really? Yeah. Oh, that's bad.
Here it is, mixed berry cereal with marshmallows.
No, that's bad. Bad.
It's basically like trying to be Lucky Charms.
No, there's a weird taste to it. Oh, that's really bad. Whoa. It tastes like baked crickets.
I gave my Mono Zero another little snip just to keep it clean. You will have to snip these quite a bit as we go through this process.
It's not good.
There are some points within it that you don't really have to do it as much, but you do tend to, for the most part, snip it quite a bit. Just keep everything clean, and it gives you the brightest lines possible.
You never guess what it tastes like. I'm really hungry.
Twist it, there we go.
So you know it's bad if someone's starving.
Would you feed this to a hungry poor kid? Bro, who hurt you?
Right, and this part right here is optional, but it does kind of help keep your, I guess, just a marking for where to lay your eyebrow hairs down. So I'm gonna kind of make a very light, very light with the 2H pencil outline. We already have our shadow there, so that's great. But even still, I'm gonna go through and just sort of make this little eyebrow shape. It's just so it doesn't get lost and, in my case, become too straight, you know? And a way that I've seen to do this that sometimes works out well for me is to just kind of make some little dashes at the top. And after like 2 or 3 of them, you just kind of make them go down a little bit. So where you draw them is where the top of your eyebrow hair is going to land. And so I only do that on the thicker part, not so much the thinner part. Just that part is just going to have some hairs just kind of coming from here and just gliding itself down. And I do have to describe this kind of gliding because it is like a very soft curve. Right. So next step is I'm just going to take a mechanical pencil. And I may go over this in a little bit and make it darker, but I am going to go ahead and draw in some of the individual hairs for the eyebrows. Went ahead and used sandpaper to sharpen that up to a really fine point. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Right, and then we're just going to go through and we're going to take our eyebrows and we're just going to kind of make some little lines coming up and curving to the little dash lines that we made.
Well, I thought you were referring to the fact that your apartment was a little cluttered, and that's what you wanted to change and clean up. Now you're getting all philosophical and talking about change in general, I think.
But I know what step 1 is. And step 1 is getting all of this cleaned
And of course, this is not the final product.
That is absolutely step 1. When the whole house is nice and clean and everything is perfectly organized, we feel zen. We feel like our chakras are organized and in alignment.
so that I can actually think about something else other than the piles that are surrounding me.
And then we can go kind of up from the top and just kind of make some little lines curving downward.
Okay,
Okay, well, I would say cleaning the apartment is a great first step. If our lives feel out of control in general, organizing the space around us can make us...
And yes, I realize it's probably a little hard to see. But you can kind of make out the lines right here. Let me try to zoom in and see if that'll make it any better.
I think by now I would have it all figured out. Candidly, all I've got figured out is that I have no clue what I'm doing with my life. I feel like so much in the past 2 years was just about getting to a place where I felt good in my body. Now that that's sorted, I have no clue what is next for me. Now that that's sorted, okay. My house has become a collection of piles of ideas, which my ADHD makes sure I have no shortage of. But with so much chaos and so many ideas, I feel paralyzed by choice and overwhelmed by mess. I also feel like a lot of my focus has been on short-term thinking because I really don't even know what I want in the long term. Also, I don't want to wait until the new year to start this process. And frankly, New Year's resolutions just aren't my thing. I'm ready now. So why wait? I think many of us end up here as we age, and frankly, we should talk about it more. So here I am starting the discussion and hopefully figuring myself out in the process. Okay, so now she says she's gotten to a place where she feels good in her body, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. Years ago, she was trying to lose weight, and then I guess she stopped trying to do that, and now she's just doing all of these various activities and stuff, but not pursuing weight loss. And she says she feels good in her body. I remember before when she did her running arc, she said her knee pain was only a 4 out of 10. I'm guessing that all of the various pains that she used to have didn't just magically
Alright, so now that I have these first little lines all set,
like now that I feel good in my body,
go through with some charcoal. And yes, I do have to sharpen this thing a lot. I'm going to use my other soft charcoal pencil. I like to use I like to use the black one for a few different things. I prefer the Generals overall, but for certain things I do like this one. I think it just it blends. It'll blend out. You can render it, but it also seems to have a slightly stronger line. You can also use like a medium grade charcoal if you prefer, but it's just to make some of the hairs darker. And also, if you want to, as you're making those, you can also kind of, I'll show you. I don't know how else to describe it, but you can sort of make some of the tips of these a little bit darker too. And when you come in to make some more hairs, you can kind of make some coming up together with this. It just kind of gives the illusion of the hair itself being a little bit thicker. So it's like the hair has folded and joined in with another.
We're human beings, damn it. We're individuals, man. Sorry. They want you to wear a hoodie, but you won't. I will wear this particular type of shorts. How dare you try to make me wear a hoodie?
So I think I'm going to make some of it like right where I made those little dashes.
They want you to dress that other way. You seem to be in a very supportive gym, although this girl right here is like, why the hell are you filming? This is so weird. I don't think anybody was going to try to force you to wear a hoodie at this particular gym. Everybody seems very supportive. For those that don't know, Glitter and Lasers is currently training for an adaptive strongman competition, which is a strongman competition for the disabled or differently abled. And apparently this new account, Viking Princess Lifts, just follows her journey the whole way, how it started. Walking up some stairs is how it started. How it's going. Now I'm walking on a rock. That is quite the upgrade. I prefer to walk on a rock. Seriously, upstairs, this is progress. How it's going. We're also serious weights and whatnot. Walking towards this beautiful lake. I remember this video.
Alright, now I'm just going to take one of my darker pencils.
Okay, so initially, you could barely walk.
So, I think I'm just going to keep it to the mechanical at this point. So I'm just going to kind of follow what I just now did, but I'm going to add in just some extra hairs. So kind of fill in the little spaces.
Whether or not it's actually safe to do
Yeah, I do realize that some of the darker hairs look a little bit wonky right now, but a lot of the things that look a little bit weird right off will kind of be fixed as we go. All right, anyway, so for right this second, I am done with the eyebrows. And now I'm going to go back toward the lips. So with the lips, I think a lot of people do just try to make like up and down lines at the, I guess, the bright spots. But if we're trying to add as much detail as possible, it is good to keep in mind that your lips have lines kind of going both up and down. Some more straight, some more wiggly, wrinkly. So I'm gonna start kind of at the corner of the mouth right there. I said the corner, sorry, well, I guess the corner of the Cupid's bow. And I'm gonna make sure I'm using the absolute sharpest part of my pencil so I can make these lines about as fine as possible. Now, because of the fact that the head is turned at a little bit of an angle, I am making some of the lines more curved. And then from there, I think we can mostly just make some vertical lines.
32 seconds.
And this is kind of to help fill out the rest of the lip.
Yesterday I found out I could dead hang. What I didn't show you yet is what happened directly after test try. My coach pushed me to try dead hang again, and this time hold it for as long as I could. Our goal was 10 seconds. I told him to not let me know how long I'd been holding on and just let me hang. My mind went blank and I just hung there. I couldn't believe that when I finally let go, I had been hanging on that bar for 32 seconds. This is a good time for anyone in the gym, regardless of size. Day by day, I learned just how capable I am. Strong is where it's at. All right, great job on that dead hang. All right, I knew.
Alright, and now that I have these lines drawn in, I'm just going to take my Mono Zero and I'm going to kind of just make some lines coming up next to a lot of these.
Unluckiest deaths in history.
And this just kind of helps to give the lips some depth. Each one of the wrinkles, so it doesn't just look like a bunch of weird little lines. It makes the up and down lines look more like they're meant to be like a shadow.
One heck of a perfectionist. He was the maître d'hôtel, or maître d', for French nobility. In case you didn't know, a maître d' is the master of the house, basically a general in terms of waitstaff at a restaurant or overall event. They make sure that everything is in line, from decorations to food, and that all guests are always happy. Now, if you've ever worked in any form of customer service, you know how stressful this can be, especially when you can't tell your guests to frig off because they're literal royalty. Unlike customers today who just think they are. Francois was in a career of pure stress, but he was the best at what he did, having been formally recognized by many top chefs across France for his ability to ensure guest satisfaction. I mean, how often do you hear stories about royal servants? Almost never, except for Francois. History often mistakes Francois for being a chef himself, but that was never the case. He just handled everything in the front of house. Anyway, this story begins and ends all the way back in 1671 in Fancy Pants, France. It was at this time that France was experiencing a golden age under Supreme Frank. At his bedside, he brandished his
So now I am going to add some tone to the rest of the face. So I'm going to use a big blush brush, this guy right there, and I'm dipping that into some charcoal powder and kind of dusting off the excess, and I'm just going to kind of go around just all over the face. And we don't want to do too much all at once, because then we end up without our shadows. And of course we'll darken up the shadows again here shortly, but to begin with, this is probably the best way to go about it, just to kind of very gradually build this up.
Tragic. Childhood? Tragic. Adult life? Tragic. Family? Tragic. Career? Successful and groundbreaking, but then tragic. All of this capped off by her sudden, unlucky, and tragic death. Born and raised in the sparkling cesspit that is San Francisco, California in the 1800s, things were already not off to a great start. She was the youngest of four, with a loving mother and supportive and wealthy banker father, until his bank collapsed under mysterious and fraudulent circumstances, subsequently leading to a marital collapse under mysterious and infidelity circumstances. He then died in a boat
And then
crash.
I'm going to take some tissue.
It is said that his last words were somewhere in the
I'm going to just kind of wrap it around my finger and just kind of go around and just blend out the charcoal that I just added.
She lived with her mother and siblings, moving to Oakland, California to begin life anew. She attended school from ages 6
Now if we press down on where we have the shadows here, we can kind of lighten those up just a bit.
Isadora and her siblings earned their daily bread by teaching the local yokels the art of dance. Thankfully, years of doing the hokey pokey allowed Isadora to turn herself around. After all, that's what it was all about. She joined a formal theater company at the age of 19 to expand her art. Problem was, the extent of dance at the time was very rigid and emotionless. Instead, Isadora yearned for something a little bit more free-flowing and expressive. She wanted less of this, a little bit more of this. But the dance community in America wasn't ready to pick up what she was throwing down, so she had to search for better opportunities abroad. Well, that was definitely a good choice, because she soon found herself dancing in the presence of wealth and royalty across London. Oh, it's a beautiful dancer, isn't it? And Paris. Her revolutionary style took the world of dance by storm. With her newfound success, she wished to provide better opportunities for the youth, opportunities that she wished that she had as a spry sapling. In order to do so, she opened up an informal dance school in Berlin, Germany in 1904, which, along with teaching kids their ABCs and 1, 2, 3, also put interpretive dance.
And I did just blow some of the excess off of the paper. That's what that weird noise is. And that way what's left will just continue getting brushed around.
Unfortunately, the new school didn't last very long as tensions escalated and the Great War broke out in Europe. So she fled back home to the U.S. right when the getting was good. As for her personal life, her travels introduced her to many suitable bachelors across the art world. She found love multiple times, and Cupid shuffled into the sheets, popping out 3 kids. But of course, fate would have other plans for this happy chapter. For instance, one of her children died in infancy. The other 2,
And now I can kind of go back over my more shadowy areas.
They drowned. Understandably, Isadora spiraled into a deep, deep depression in her later years and fell out of the spotlight, her debt piling up as high as her empty liquor bottles. But
But this life of misfortune was about to be topped off with a disastrous bow. On September 14th, 1927 in Nice, France, Isadora was riding shotgun in a fancy car while wearing an abnormally long fancy scarf. Normally, the combination of heavy machinery and loose articles of clothing warrant a lively watermark, and poor Isadora was about to learn why. As the vehicle sped off and she bid her farewells, her fashionable fabric forged her fate. Her long scarf that was whipping in the wind became entangled in the rear tire of the car, wrapping around the rear axle and pulling tight.
Stop from here, and I'll do this part off camera, but I am going to go through and outline the hair, and then I think I'm going to go back through and just redarken some of the, just darken up some of the hairs for the eyebrows. And you can go ahead and just kind of do the same, just look at your reference image, whatever you're using, and just kind of draw the shape of the hair. Now I will start out by reminding us all that that original circle that we made at the very first step, the top of that circle is the top of the skull. So that circle is not where the hairline ends. It's also good to keep in mind to kind of make the hair go just slightly above that to make it flow a little bit better so it doesn't look too flat. Alright, so once I hop back on here, we'll start darkening up and coloring in and dealing with all that fun stuff. Alright, so I went ahead and started outlining the hair. You might have to bear with me just a bit on this just because it is one that gives me a little bit of trouble. I do eventually get it done, but it definitely kind of takes me a minute just because of where everything kind of starts to overlap a little bit. Sometimes it looks a little bit wonky. I did take a nail dotting tool. Now this is optional, but in just different sections of the hair, I did just kind of like run it over just to create some little crevices. It just kind of helps to keep some of the graphite out or off of the hair, just to kind of give it some lighter strands in there. Now when I do use some charcoal and when I'm spreading it around with the brush, some of it does go in, but it still kind of helps when we're trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. Alright, so I'm going to start off using a 2H pencil, so that is my lighter color. And I'm just kind of gonna, and we're going to be kind of just working at it section by section. So she did have some hair coming out from behind her head, and I'm just going to go through and just make some strokes like that. Also, she has a piece that comes in front of her face right here, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing there. Now, as we're doing this, we're not necessarily going to go through and just draw out every single hair strand. It's more just a way that we're motioning our hands for this, almost like we're coloring, but only actually making contact with the downward strokes right now. And then she kind of has the same thing going on over here by this ear. So again, I am just kind of starting with the lighter colors for right now. Now, I did go ahead and draw on her part a little bit darker up here. She does have some shadows going on up here, and just to kind of help us with the direction of the hair. It did make a lot of, I guess, logistical sense to go ahead and do that. Okay. And depending on exactly how your person's hair is, you may be able to make more of it lighter than I did. But she has a little bit of a dark space in here. And everything else going on right here is pretty light colored. Just kind of leading up to that. A little bit of dark, and I did kind of mark that one a little bit darker because I guess that's just kind of where one of the hair folds is. And this one doesn't quite go up all the way either. Oh shoot, I'm just realizing this is out of frame. I do apologize for that. So this is where I was talking about. So there is like a darker strand right about here, and it does kind of fade into the spot that goes by her forehead. So I am actually going to go ahead and trace that line up and around. I'll come back and really, really darken it here in just a bit. So that line is going to be a little bit darker. And she has another small area of light hair. And I am kind of curving it around because she is wearing like a ponytail, or what appears to be probably a ponytail. Hell, maybe even a low messy bun, I don't know. But this is what we can see so far. Now back on the other side, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. So she has the one piece in front of her eye. There's a little bit of a gap. And within the gap, she also has some darker hair. So I'm going to go ahead and make the next curl up. And then I'm going to draw in that little gap right there. And then I'm going to take my my nail dotting tool one more time, and then just where I made that little area, I am going to go ahead and just make some downward strokes, or I guess they're more diagonal. I'm just going to make a few little diagonal strokes on that. This piece does just kind of blend into the next one, so I am going to just kind of make a line of it going like that. And then just going to keep on going with my 2H. Just kind of keep in mind that for right now, just our lighter colored hair, we're just kind of going through with the 2H. If you need to, you can always like darken a small section of it to sort of indicate that that's where you're going to be placing some shadows. I personally find it helpful to do that, but it isn't, you know, mandatory. This little outline right here that I made earlier, that part kind of folds onto this piece. And I'm going to make that a little bit darker just because there is a little bit of a shadow going on right there. To stare at my reference image for just a second. Now I'm going to kind of follow up toward the top. And essentially I'm just going to go section by section, just filling in the different parts of it, some lighter, some darker. So I am going to go ahead and do the rest of the lighter hair off camera, so that way when I come back to this, we'll be on to the next part, which will be to add the shadows. Alright, now I will be coming back and adding some more of the lighter shade, but just so we don't get super lost in this process, I am going to go ahead and add in some of the darker hair. So that being said, I am going to start off with, you know, actually, I'll start off with this thing. It says it's a woodless graphite. I don't know, it's just the weird black pencil. Anyway, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go through the part on her head again. And I'm just going to kind of make these lines come out further. And this is that one dark area, or one of the two darker areas. Sorry, sometimes my pauses are mostly just to try to find a good angle to do this from, so that I'm not blocking, but also so I can control the direction of my wrist a little bit better. Alright, so at this point, I may finish this next bit again off camera, now that I'm sure you've got the idea of what we're doing here. Alright, so when I come back, we will add in some highlights, and then I'm going to keep on going with the rest of the face and start adding in even more detail. Alright, so now I'm just going to take one of my fluffier brushes. I'm mostly going to focus on the darker areas with this right this second, but I'm just going to kind of spread that around, just kind of fade it together. Especially over here by the part. And we are going to be kind of doing a little bit of back and forth with the different pencils. So I'm doing a 2H right here. And I could have used a slightly darker one, but I'm going to just stick with a 2H for this part, and I'm just going to press a little bit harder on a few of the strands. That way I'm still getting a pretty light color, but some areas of shadow too. Now this part is going to be a little bit of a wild card, because she does have a mix of both dark and light hair right there. So I'm going to take my charcoal and I'm going to do a little bit of this, kind of fade into that some. Everything up by her head is a bit darker. just kind of slowly but surely building that up. Hair is definitely one of the more tedious processes in this whole situation, honestly, just kind of depending on how realistic you want it to be. If we rush through it, then it can look very animated. Although, to be fair, even if I take my time, sometimes it does. That's why, you know, sometimes I gotta do part of it off camera because I may have to redo and erase and all this kind of fun stuff, which I'm just like, you don't need to watch that process.
Kind of had a responsibility to pay up.
All right.
Again, I hate
And don't mind the background noise.
Rachel claims that she has proof.
So, I am going to go back over through some of the rest of this stuff again. I know it's very repetitive, but it's repetitive with a purpose, mostly just because we have to go kind of in layers to eventually get to a more realistic look. It'll often kind of start off looking almost animated, and then it eventually works itself out. So that's just kind of where we're at with this right this second.
That is a statement, isn't it, my nuggets?
So I'm gonna go. So let me sandpaper this just a skosh.
Which one is less shit? And both of them are more shit in different ways to each other. It's just, oh dear.
So I'm gonna go.
That is an iconic quote right there.
This is exactly why we have the motto, don't touch the poo. I am disappointed that Rachel offered money and stuff, but I also understand it. If I were in that same situation and I was on the verge of getting all these receipts, all these texts from behind the scenes in the relationship between Emily and Amber, knowing it's going to be a huge video, it's going to make my channel blow up, because of course it is, I don't know that I would be able to say no either. Or I don't know that I wouldn't come up with the same idea to make sure I can keep getting receipts. That doesn't make it right, but I get it.
So I found his tone and his message very interesting in this video, because the impression that I'm actually getting from him is that he knows he's been part of this Discord, so he's friends with Rachel, and Rachel is a much bigger channel. I don't know that that should matter, but I have a feeling that it does to Hector Carter, and it definitely seemed to for Studio D. But the vibe that I'm getting here is that he does actually disagree with it, what she did, but he also doesn't want to be seen to be bad-mouthing her. So it's almost like he's trying to hedge his bets and play both sides, which is different than being objective. He's not simply seeing both sides. There's, to me, looks like a conflict going on within him about what he wants to say and what he feels he should say, which might be why it wasn't super well received, because it does come off as disingenuous. But that's the risk of choosing a team, and why I rail against it so hard, because as soon as you pick a side, then all of a sudden all of the expectations and all of the rules and all of the behaviors of that team as a whole get applied to you, and what it deems what is acceptable and what isn't. It's the danger of aligning with people, because it means that you can't authentically be yourself. And while you may fit partially into a team, I think it's pretty rare that you find a group of people with a message where you fully fit, where you're like 100% yes, this is me, this is my people. And that's why you will never see me quote unquote aligning with anyone. I will be gracious and polite if they do something positive for my channel, but I'm not going to pretend that we're best friends, and I'm going to be sincere about my communications with public figures, if that makes sense.
But the main problem is that when you touch the poo, right, when you get involved, there's
Now I'm going to go through and add more for as far as the pores go up on the forehead, but I did just kind of want to very briefly show the other way of drawing in the pores. And this way I like to do in more on like the cheeks and the nose area. I like to do this type on the lower part of the face, and I will show you why. It's way easier to show than tell in this situation, but I will go ahead and show you how I go about that, and also you'll kind of see the why. Alright, so for this bit of it, I am going to go back to using my charcoal pencil. So I'll kind of start off over here. I know I did draw on a few lighter colored ones already, but let me grab a sheet of paper or I'll just grab a paper towel for my hands. Okay. So we're just going to kind of go around from like the nose and cheek area, and I'm just going to take my charcoal pencil, again, try to sharpen it as much as you can to get like a little bit of a tapered edge. Or tapered end, and we're going to go around, we're going to make some that are just like irregular shaped, almost like a V, just so it doesn't just look like a bunch of blackheads. Now we are going to make some that are just regular little dots, just kind of here and there, and we're just going to kind of do that sort of all over. Doesn't need to be in any really irregular pattern or anything. They do kind of have like a dash / winged shape, most of them. We're just gonna kind of go around and do that.
But the new docs also showcase that Epstein's influence spread across famous intellectuals Noam Chomsky and prominent author Deepak Chopra appear in his emails too. So he built relationships with tech billionaires, royalty.
To note, some are darker, some are bigger.
Level of influence that was desirable to him, and he specifically curated and collected as many powerful elites as he could, ensuring that his reach spanned far and wide, and as we know, also to blackmail some of them, at least some of them, to have ultimate power. So the ultimate takeaway from all of this is really that the Epstein scandal is about more than just Trump, and the newly released documents demonstrate that this is a problem stretching among the elite as a whole, and the fact that
So we're just going to kind of keep doing that all over the place.
enemies using his power as president to move the spotlight onto the Democrats under the guise of the Epstein investigation. A not too uncommon pattern for him, as he's leveraged the DOJ to go after former FBI Director James Comey and New York State Attorney General Letitia James. But again, no credible evidence has emerged implicating the accused with Epstein's crimes. And critics note that these pointed investigations could be viewed as vindictive prosecution, which both Comey and James argued in their cases. And judges are able to completely throw cases out that are brought in for political retaliation. And Trump has been criticized by legal efforts, calling his requests, quote-unquote, outrageously inappropriate, saying that's, quote, not how it's supposed to work, unquote. So overall, Trump's counter-offense boils down to distraction and intimidation, which you just keep seeing every single day. It's just like, look over here, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy, this other thing over here. No, don't look at the Epstein, don't look at the Epstein, look over here. Look at oh wow, look stuff blew up, and stuff happened to Paris and drugs and stuff, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Don't look at me. Look at me. Actually considering the amount of time they spent.
And I'm just about done placing these, because I will go back and add some more with like using the 2H pencil and probably a 2B, kind of like what I did up here. But I like this this method in specific areas. And you know what, while I'm here, I'm also going to go at the eyebrows and make a few, just kind of make some darker spots at the end of some of the hairs at the front. This just kind of helps to give the illusion or the impression or whatever of the hairs actually coming out of the pores.
Non-adults isn't a deal breaker as long as the one committing it is of use to them. Even institutions continue to allow his misconduct to occur. Specifically, J.P. Morgan, they continue to serve him, and celebrities still socialized with him, and universities continue to receive his donations. And he thrived because the elite suffered from failed accountability. Like Epstein, allowed to continue in their
So if I want to add some more here in a minute, I will. But so from here, I'm just going to take a Q-tip and I'm just going to go in all these little areas and I'm just going to rub them all around in circles. Now this does add more charcoal around it, helps it blend into the picture a bit more. It also kind of creates some little lines for us to use to make some more face lines, like some little I guess wrinkles, or just to make the skin look a little bit less smooth. Just to kind of help rough it up just a little bit. And it just kind of helps to add that into it. And it makes the pores themselves look a little less intense because we are going to go through and add some highlights to it so that these look more like shadows.
It is of the utmost importance that we remember the true core, and that is victims of Epstein's themselves. Because it's so easy to get caught up in who did what and this allegation and that accusation that we so quickly can forget that real people
Flip this over.
and lives were permanently damaged. Women like Virginia Giuffre, Sarah Ronson, Maria Farmer, Annie Farmer, and the countless unnamed victims. They must be supported and their stories told so that more women like them can be spared from such an awful fate. But as of right now, that is all we have. I mean, obviously there's a ton of files. I wouldn't be able to go through them all. It's going to be way too long. But the gist of it is, they're still lying to us. We still don't have the Epstein files, and shit just keeps getting worse. And victims.
Now I'm going to flip that over on this side, and I'm going to do the same on that upper lip. These ones are not really meant to be super duper bright or to stand out a whole lot. They're just kind of there. Alright, so from there, I'm going to take my Mono Zero. Let me snip the tip of that off real quick. And so what we're going to do is just kind of go around each of these and kind of like right toward the bottom. And in my case, I'm going to go bottom, kind of like to the bottom right. I'm just going to kind of dab at it. Just kind of make like the highlight. And you'll notice it more as I go.
I don't usually do videos like this, but I'm very excited to tell you about this movie. And if you've seen it, I think you'll still enjoy this adventure down memory lane. And there will be spoilers, but I think it'll be all right. I think it's okay. I highly recommend you watch this movie, but I highly recommend you watch this video because it'll give you a lot of context that you don't need. But I'm not going to mince words. Let's just get into it. So recently, Caleb sat me down and said, "Have you seen Troll 2 before? Because we're trying to figure out what movie to watch." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know. What is that?" He said, "I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to turn it on." And so I watched it, just raw dog, no context, right in, and I was baffled. Never laughed so much in my life, I don't think, at a movie. I'm going to give you a little context before I get into it, just so you have that at least, and I think it'll make it funnier. But yeah, Troll 2 isn't just bad. It's a masterpiece of accidental comedy that required an Italian film crew, a Mormon cast, and $100,000 budget to achieve cinematic immortality. So the 1990 film, directed by Claudio Fragasso, has become the gold standard for so good at
devoted midnight screenings worldwide, responding to the acclaimed documentary about its bizarre legacy, which I also recommend to watch. But what began as a sincere attempt at horror filmmaking in the Utah desert became something far more entertaining. A perfect storm of language barriers, amateur actors that just regular people who've never acted before, and vegetarian goblins that somehow created the most watchable, unwatchable movie ever made. So the genesis of Troll 2 began with Italian filmmaker Flavio Fragasso and a screenwriter wife.
Now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can kind of see a little bit better. The angle that I have my camera sitting at might make this a little bit less sensible. So this is kind of what our pores are looking like here.
And she later described it as, quote, ferocious analysis of today's society. And if you watch this movie, you'd never think it means anything, but knowing that, I appreciate it even more now. And it's about the evils of plant-based diets. And producer Edward Sarlou, sorry to say your name wrong, who had financed killer plants from outer space, definitely don't need to watch that if you can, approached them with a rubber goblin mask he'd acquired rights to and requested a family-friendly horror film without blood to avoid censorship issues. And by God, did we get it. So the production assembled in the summer of 1989 with a 3-week shooting schedule and $100,000.
So we're just going to kind of go around on all the pores and do that. Now this can be a very time-consuming, tedious bit of this, but it is all well and good.
So, mad respect. And the all-Italian crew, who spoke virtually no English except for the costume designer Laura Genzer, descended upon the Mormon communities of Morgan and Porterville, Utah. And this cultural clash was immediate because the chain-smoking, wine-drinking